The man grabbed my son by the collar like he was picking up trash, not yanking him hard enough to choke him, just enough to remind him who was in charge. My boy froze. That's the part that still keeps me up at night. Not the grabbing, not the shouting, the freeze. The way his hands hovered in the air, unsure whether to push back or apologize for existing. Kids don't understand power games. They don't know when adults are bluffing. They assume grown men won't cross certain lines. My son was standing next to the community basketball hoop, orange ball tucked under one arm, sneakers scuffed from the pavement. He'd just missed a shot and laughed it off. That laugh died instantly when the man in the navy blue jacket stepped in front of him. The jacket said, "Neighborhood Marshal," in bold white letters. The man leaned down, face tight with authority he hadn't earned. "You don't run on private property," he said. Then he grabbed my son. "Before I go any further, pause for 1 second and comment where you're watching from and what time it is right now. I want to see how far this story reaches, because what happened next still shocks people when they hear it." My name is Marcus Hale. I didn't move into that gated community to start fights. I moved there to avoid them. After 15 years working emergency response, fires, crashes, things you don't unsee, I wanted boring, predictable, safe, a place where my kids could play outside without me scanning every shadow. For the first month, it was exactly that. Then the community board hired private enforcement. They didn't call them security, they didn't call them guards, they called them neighborhood marshals. That should have been my first red flag. No certification posted, no clear authority, just men in matching jackets, radios clipped to their shoulders, walking around like they owned the sidewalks. Most residents didn't question it. Uniforms have a way of shutting down curiosity. One person loved it, though. Her name was Denise Caldwell, vice chair of the community board, always talking about order, image, and setting examples. She complained about noise, bikes, chalk drawings, basketballs bouncing too late in the afternoon. She smiled when she spoke, but it never reached her eyes. 2 days before the incident, she cornered me near the mailbox. "Your kids are energetic," she said sweetly. "I like that," I replied, "but energy needs boundaries." I told her calmly that my kids followed the posted rules, park hours, noise limits, everything. She nodded, smiled wider. That's why we hired help. That afternoon, my son stayed within the court lines. Noon, broad daylight, parents around, nothing reckless, nothing wrong. And yet this so-called Marshal decided to make an example out of him. I was 20 yards away, talking to another neighbor, when I heard my son's voice crack. Not a scream, a confused, shaky, "Hey!" I turned just in time to see the man's hand clenched in my child's shirt. My body moved before my thoughts caught up. The marshal saw me coming and stiffened. His grip tightened slightly, like he needed to prove something before letting go. "Sir, step back," he said loudly, too loudly, for the audience. I didn't raise my voice, didn't curse. I stopped right in front of him and said very clearly, "Let go of my son." He didn't. That was his mistake. I peeled his hand off my boy's collar and stepped between them. My son stumbled back, eyes wide, chest rising too fast. I felt the tremor in his hands when he grabbed my shirt. The marshal squared up, chest puffed, radio crackling. "You don't touch me," he said. "You don't touch children," I replied. People were watching now. Phones were out. Denise stood near the clubhouse, arms crossed, lips pressed tight like she was holding back applause. The marshal took 1 step toward my son again. The moment the marshal stepped toward my son again, the crowd reacted before I did. Someone shouted. Someone else yelled, "Hey!" A phone camera zoomed in so close I could see the reflection of the scene in its screen. The marshal's hand lifted. Whether to grab, point, or intimidate, I'll never know. Because that's when I ended it. I didn't swing wildly, I didn't lose control. I stepped forward, trapped his arm at the wrist, twisted just enough to break his balance, and shoved him backward.
Not dramatic, not flashy, just enough to put him on the pavement hard. His radio skidded across the concrete. The sound was loud, final. He scrambled, trying to get up, panic flashing across his face as the crowd closed in. Authority evaporates fast when witnesses stop being afraid. "Don't touch him!" Denise yelled from across the courtyard. "You assaulted a marshal!" I looked at her, then down at the man struggling to his knees. "He assaulted a child," I said evenly. My son clung to my side now, fingers digging into my jacket like I might disappear if he let go. I crouched, checked his neck, his chest, whispered that he was okay, that I had him. His breathing slowly steadied. That's when a neighbor spoke up. "He grabbed the kid first," a woman said loudly. "I saw it," another added. "So did I," someone else chimed in. Denise's smile cracked. The marshal tried to regain control, pointing at me like he could still command the room. "You're gonna regret this," he snapped. "I'm calling it in." I pulled my phone out instead. 911, I said calmly when the operator answered. "We need police and medical assistance. A private individual impersonating authority physically restrained a minor." I didn't embellish. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Sirens came faster than Denise expected. 2 patrol cars rolled through the gate, lights flashing, instantly changing the tone of the entire courtyard. Real uniforms have weight. Real authority doesn't need to shout. Officers separated everyone within seconds. One knelt in front of my son, soft voice, gentle questions. Another stood between me and the marshal, who was now suddenly very quiet. When they asked for his credentials, he hesitated. That hesitation said more than words ever could. The officers examined his jacket, his radio, his lack of identification. Then they turned to Denise. "Is he law enforcement?" one asked. She swallowed. "He's contracted." "By who?" "Our community board." "Does he have arrest authority?" Silence. Then the videos surfaced. My neighbor across the court had a door camera. Another had filmed the entire confrontation. One clip clearly showed the marshal grabbing my son first. Another caught Denise nodding at him from a distance moments before it happened. The officers watched without interrupting. When the videos ended, one of them exhaled slowly. The marshal was handcuffed on the spot. Charges came quickly. Unlawful restraint of a minor, assault, impersonation of authority, harassment. He was loaded into the back of the cruiser. No jacket, no radio, no power left to hide behind. Denise tried to leave. She didn't get far. An officer stopped her and asked her to wait, then asked for her phone, then asked about emails. Turns out she'd been busy. Messages instructing zero tolerance, encouraging physical presence, praising hands-on enforcement, all sent from her personal account. By the end of the week, the community board suspended her. By the end of the month, prosecutors charged her with conspiracy, child endangerment, and solicitation of unlawful enforcement. The lawsuit destroyed the HOA. Settlements followed, then resignations, then silence. The marshal took a plea deal after realizing how many cameras had captured his moment of confidence. He received prison time, a permanent ban from any security-related role, and mandatory registration related to offenses involving minors. Denise lost everything she'd tried to control. As for my son, he didn't play basketball for a while. Then one evening he asked if I'd come outside with him. We walked to the court together. He bounced the ball once, then again. A smile crept back, cautious but real. "I'm not scared anymore," he said. That was the real victory. Because power doesn't come from jackets, titles, or fake authority. It comes from accountability. So let me ask you, honestly, did I handle this the right way? What would you have done if it were your child? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all.